Hello and welcome to this special program on Doordarshan. I am Taposh Bhattacharya, and in the next half an hour I will give you a lowdown on India's wetland and why is it important to safeguard them. Wetlands provide a wide range of important ecosystem services in the country. In fact, they are the major sources of fresh water for Indian cities.
A wetland is an area of land that's saturated with water either throughout the year or for varying periods of time during the year. Wetlands are typically shallow, so sunlight can penetrate the surface to facilitate subterranean photosynthesis, making these ecosystems one of the most biologically productive areas on the planet. Just as forests are called the lungs of the earth, wetlands are the kidneys that regulate water and filter waste from the landscape. Wetlands are the primary sources of fresh water, buffers of floods and droughts, recyclers of nutrients and chemicals, and are intertwined with our culture and identity. These ecosystems usually throw up beautiful mental images: a picturesque river, a houseboat on a lake, fishing in a pond, and more. They are the subject of poetry and songs, provide the backdrop of films and books, and are sacred to many people. More directly, wetlands are a source of livelihood, food, and home to biodiversity.
Wetlands are important because it has a multi-purpose use. Firstly, it is the nesting and brooding ground for birds, which comes from different countries. Even the Indian birds are also find these wetlands as their homeland. And apart from this, a lot of fishermen are also dependent on fishing in this wetland. And the most important thing for the mankind is the recharging of groundwater. So water is life, and most of this wetland serves these ecosystem services of recharging the groundwater, which is very important for the existence of the mankind.
With just 2.4% of the world's land area, India contributes of safeguarding almost 8% of the global biodiversity. This rich diversity is because of India's rich habitat, ecological habitat from one end to the other. The world now look up to the country to safeguard its wetland on the 50th anniversary of the Ramsar Convention.
Wetlands are of different types. They include mangroves, peatlands, and marshes, rivers and lakes, deltas, floodplains and flooded forests, rice fields, and even coral reefs. Wetlands exist in every country, in every climatic zone, from the polar regions to the tropics, and from high altitudes to dry regions. India is endowed with a rich diversity of wetlands, ranging from high-altitude wetlands of the Himalayas, floodplains of mighty rivers as Ganga and Brahmaputra, lagoons and mangrove marshes on the coastline, and reefs in the marine environments. As per National Wetland Atlas, nearly 4.7% of India's geographical area is under wetlands. The extensive food chain and biological diversity in wetlands make them biological supermarkets. Wetlands are valuable as sources sink, and transformers of a multitude of biological, chemical, and genetic material. In addition, wetlands have special attributes as cultural heritage of humanity and have deep connections with our beliefs and practices. They are indeed an important part of our natural wealth.
We will identify wetlands of international importance, document them, identify the parameters based on which we could categorize them as wetlands of international importance. And basically what we are targeting is that this year at least 75 wetlands, major wetlands, which are of international importance. We could document those wetlands. And then out of those, we will then try to further, get it certified through Ramsar Convention.
The Convention on Wetlands, called as Ramsar Convention, is an intergovernmental treaty that provides the framework for national action and international cooperation for the conservation of wise use of wetlands and their resources. The convention was adopted in 1971 at the Iranian city of Ramsar.
(2021) is the 50th year of the signing of the convention, and so it's a very special year. And what we are planning is we have kind of increased the number of Ramsar sites in the past 1 year. From 26 we have gone to 42 already, and 3-4 are in the pipeline, and this year we propose to reach 50 Ramsar sites, and which makes it one of the largest numbers in South Asia. And besides that, it is not only increasing the number of Ramsar sites, we also have to look at the conservation and management of these Ramsar sites.
Contracting parties to the convention commit to designating wetlands into the list of wetlands of international importance and wise use of all wetlands in their territory. India has 42 Ramsar sites now, covering an area of more than 1.07 million hectares. The latest site to be added to this list is a high-altitude wetland complex of 2 connected lakes, Statsapuk So and Sokar in Ladakh.
People from all over the world come here. अगर आप इकोलॉजिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बात करेंगे, दे आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बर्ड एरियाज. एंड जैसे आप जानते हैं, सेंट्रल एशियन फ्लाईवे होता है और लद्दाख इज इन द गेट ऑफ सेंट्रल एशियन फ्लाईवे फॉर आवर कंट्री. एंड ऐसी सारी जितनी भी माइग्रेटरी बर्ड्स आती हैं, ऑलमोस्ट ऑल ऑफ देम जो इस रूट को फॉलो करती हैं, दे लद्दाख इज अ चेक पॉइंट. दे रेस्ट हियर फॉर सम टाइम एंड देन गो फॉरवर्ड डाउन इनटू आवर कंट्री.
What are the threats to wetlands? The world has lost 87% of natural wetlands since the 1700s and 35% have disappeared since the 1970s. India has lost nearly 1/3 of her natural wetlands to urbanization, agricultural expansion and pollution over the last 4 decades. It is estimated that wetlands are vanishing 3 times faster than forests, and their rate of disappearance is increasing. Wetlands are threatened by reclamation and degradation, through drainage and landfill pollution, coming through domestic and industrial effluents, disposal of solid wastes, overexploitation of natural resources, resulting in loss of biodiversity and disruption in ecosystem services provided by wetlands.
Time for a short breather in this special program, but don't go anywhere as lots more lined up on the other side.
As novel coronavirus spreads around the world, where does research on a vaccine stand? India, that produces 60% of the world's vaccines, with its production capabilities and distribution networks, unleash the full potential of its medical diplomacy. For an in-depth perspective on solutions to the global pandemic, watch BioQuest, Researching COVID-19 on DD India and DD News.
Namaste India.
Namaste land.
مرحبا إلى الهند.
زري إنديا.
سلام إنديا.
Namaste India.
Namaskar Bharata.
Mui
Nous
India.
sommes land.
نحن هنود.
India.
ما हिंदी हस्ती.
Mung Hindian.
सलाम हिंदुस्तान.
We are India.
Your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in all Southeast Asian countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, log on to ddnews.gov.in. Switch to DD India now.
Welcome back to our special segment on World Wetlands Day. Each year we celebrate World Wetlands Day on 2nd February. But what is the significance of this particular date, and why do we celebrate such an important pillar of this ecosystem on 2nd February? How 2021 is going to be more important for World Wetlands Day? And most importantly, what are the various policies in place to conserve wetlands across the world? Let's dive deeper and take a look.
World Wetlands Day, the 2nd of February each year, is celebrated as World Wetlands Day to mark the date of adoption of the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. The convention is the only multilateral environmental agreement to date for conservation and wise use of wetlands. The year 2021 marks the 50th year of the signing of the convention. World Wetland Day is being organized to raise awareness on the values that wetlands have for nature and society. Each year, the World Wetlands Day is attached to a specific theme. The theme of this year's World Wetlands Day is Wetlands and Water, which draw attention to the fact that only 2.5% of water on the earth is fresh water, of which less than 1% is usable. Our water use has increased sixfold in 100 years and rises by 1% each year. Almost 2.2 billion people do not have access to safe drinking water. Clean water is critical for healthy lives. Wetlands are vanishing 3 times faster than forests. 35% of wetlands have disappeared since 1970s. 87% have been lost since the 1700s. Does India have a policy to protect wetlands? On an international level, India is a party to the Convention on Wetlands called the Ramsar Convention, an intergovernmental treaty that provides the framework for national action and international cooperation for the conservation and wise use of wetlands and their resources. As part of the natural environment, wetlands are also protected by legislation.
the ministry has come up with a four-pronged strategy, and we are working and making wetland health cards for most of the important wetlands of the country, and that will be a good system for monitoring the health of the wetlands, and it will kind of give us a focused mitigation plan as to what is the problem facing the wetland and what will be the mitigation which is required for that.
The Indian Environment Protection Act 1986 is a legislation to provide protection and improvement of the environment, including, inter alia, wetlands. The National Environment Policy 2006 recognizes the ecosystem services provided by wetlands and emphasizes the need to set up a regulatory mechanism for all wetlands so as to maintain their ecological character and ultimately support their integrated management.
Wetland is a very technical subject. You need it not only is about its biology and ecology, there's a lot of hydrology involved in it. So what we wanted was a wetland research center which could kind of guide all the states, and we plan to start a wetland research center in that center of ours. They are already working on the coastal wetlands, so they would now be working on the entire wetlands of the country. They will do the GIS monitoring. They will train the states on how to inventorize the wetlands.
As per National Wetland Atlas, nearly 4.7% of the wetlands falls under the geographical area. It is also a very important destination for the Central Asian flyway, and thus it becomes really important to conserve the wetlands all across the nation and the world.
Specific to wetlands is the Wetland Conservation and Management Rules 2017 notified by the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. Under the provisions of the Environment Protection Act 1986, the rules serve as a regulatory framework for conservation and management of wetlands in India. In early 2020, the Ministry also released guidelines to support the state governments in implementing the rules. A national wetland inventory and assessment was conducted in the country using Indian remote sensing satellites during 2006 to 2011. Subsequently, national and state-wise wetland inventory atlases were released, which have spatial data on wetlands and each state and union territory. A total of 757,060 wetlands have been mapped in the country. The total wetland area estimated is 15.26 million hectares, that is around 4.63% of the geographical area of the country. The central government provides assistance to state governments for implementation of management plans for prioritized wetlands. The National Wetlands Conservation Program has been in operation since 1986. Since 2013, the program is known as National Plan for Conservation of Aquatic Ecosystems.
You see, Ramsar is, you can say, is one of the convention which identifies the importance of or important wetlands internationally. And the numbers are increasing in India, and that obviously goes on to prove that the importance that the international community bestows with the Indian initiative as far as the wetland conservation is concerned. And you have rightly said that in December 20 we have got the last wetland to be notified as the Ramsar site, the Sokar in the Ladakh region. And the numbers are increasing. I know, one in Sundarban has also been notified in the recent past. And we hope that, and few are on the pipeline to be listed very soon. So the conservation efforts of the Indian government is well recognized, and we actually are the game changer as far as the Southeast Asia is concerned for the conservation of wetland. Like many other biodiversity issues, we are also doing a lot of jobs as far as the conservation of wetlands are concerned.
The Ministry of Jal Shakti operates a scheme for repair, renovation and restoration of water bodies. Several states have also notified wetlands authorities and acts and rules for conservation and wise use of wetlands. Guidelines for implementation of the rules were also released last year. The following actions are recommended for spreading the message of conservation of wetlands. Restore, conserve and promote wise use of all wetlands. Don't drain. Don't build over. Don't degrade. Access the real value of wetlands. Organize an event to raise awareness about the importance of the role of wetlands in providing fresh water. Learn about the types of wetlands in your country. Assess the real value of wetlands. Use a diagnostic approach to identify root causes of wetlands degradation and ensure that the management plan is adequate to respond to the risks. Monitor wetland ecosystem health periodically. Disseminate information on wetlands and freshwater to all stakeholders. Wetlands are also amongst the Earth's top carbon stores, and their conservation can help in reducing carbon emissions. All over the country, there are stories of individuals and communities protecting their local wetlands. There is a cause for hope. Hope that by truly mitigating for development and conserving remaining wetlands, we can help address the impacts of climate change, enhance biodiversity, and prosper from the positive economic spin-offs of sustainability. With hope and anticipation, let's celebrate World Wetlands Day.
That's all in this special program on Doordarshan. I am Taposh Bhattacharya, and along with my camera person Kumar Datta, we are signing off. But don't go anywhere, as lots more lined up on the other side. Keep watching Doordarshan.